This episode of the Young Turks is brought to you by GoToMeeting, online meetings made easy. What's Obama about? We've been struggling with this for so long. And I have tentative conclusions. I'm going to get assigned percentages. Fun, right? Now, how did I reach this conclusion? I had told you this story about Obama playing poker before. In fact, we talked about it during the elections, before the elections. And I thought it was an interesting insight into how he is as a politician and a leader. And it was an interesting juxtaposition at the time because John McCain, his favorite gambling is craps. And he's apparently a wild-eyed gambler, which is not surprising, takes huge risks, and usually loses. Oops. Right. Now, on the other hand, Barack Obama is very cautious. And I said at the time, look, that has an upside and a downside. And he plays poker. Well, that's good. That involves a lot more thinking, strategizing, etc., right? And less luck. Now, apparently, though, he's a very, very tight player, right? Now, Daily Beast did something interesting. Ran to Lane and went back and talked to his old poker buddies from Chicago and asked, how does Barack Obama play poker, right? To get into further detail from the original story that came out during the campaign. Well, it turns out they all confirm, yeah, he's an incredibly tight player. What does that mean? That means unless Barack Obama, and they say this in the article, unless Barack Obama thought he absolutely positively had the winning hand, he would not go in. So that means he's the world's easiest guy to bluff. Oh, I tell you, you better fold, man. I got a good hand. He's like, oh, golly gee willikers, I don't have 4 kings. Okay, I'm going to fold. How much is that playing out in a disastrous way right now? He was a grinder, so he was cautious. Now, he wouldn't lose very much money because he almost entered no hands. I mean, it's exactly what he's doing now. He won't step into any fights because if he does, he might lose, right? So he doesn't play very many hands. He doesn't lose much money, but he also doesn't gain very much. And by the way, in poker, it's also a terrible idea in the long run because then everybody knows you're never bluffing. If you're in the hand, that means you've got an overwhelming hand. So everybody goes, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, take the ante, sucker. If you ask me, it's a terrible strategy in poker, but when you're president, it's a way worse strategy in the real world. So that leads to my conclusion. Look, the question was, does this guy not get politics? Is he a little dim, right? Or is he just like incredibly weak and he just keeps giving in to all these things? Or is he complicit? He actually wants tax cuts for the rich and he loves it when the rich get more powerful, etc., and loves the establishment. Well, I'm going 10% with not particularly bright because there are some fundamental political concepts that he doesn't seem to get. And certainly some financial concepts he doesn't get. Like he's like, well, I don't know, the Republican senators say they're going to vote against me, so how could I possibly change their mind? Well, you would go and campaign in their states. That's how you would change their mind. I mean, I don't know. So, that's not the main thing. That's the smallest one, 10%, right? I think he's 30% complicit. Because, look, I'm not saying he thinks, whoa, my rich friends got tax cuts. I'm saying he's unconsciously, going along with this because he kind of likes the establishment. He knows all these guys, and everybody he knows is incredibly rich. And everybody he knows, like Larry Summers and Tim Geithner, say, no, the banks are always right. And of course, tax cuts are always the right idea. Smaller government's always the right idea. Cutting Social Security is always the right idea. And since he's in that circle and he can't seem to get out, he's like, well, okay, he buys into it. I mean, in the 60 Minutes interview, he said, well, look, limited government and cutting spending is as American as apple pie. But that's the Republican position, right? So is he complicit in the sense that he agrees with the Republican position? At least 30%. But 60% is this. He just has an aversion to ever fighting. He doesn't want to get involved in a hand. He doesn't want to get involved in a fight. He thinks fights are messy. He just tries to do everything to avoid conflict. But when you do that, you portray incredible weakness, and that's because you, in fact, are weak. And everybody knows they can push you around, they can push you over, and they do so they have done for the last 2 years, they will do for the next 2 years. And now to give you the story from foreign policy. It's not just in domestic policy that the Republicans push him around. In the beginning of his administration, I gave him credit because Obama came out and said, we're for settlement freezes so that we can begin real peace negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And he said, I'm going to put my foot down and this is my line in the sand. And I was like, wow, that's tough. I like that. That's, and that's a little bold. And it's the right policy, okay? And it seemed tough. Guess what happened? They announced yesterday the U.S. is withdrawing its demand for Israel to stop settlement increases. Complete, utter cave-in, capitulation, etc. The guy, he can't, all he does is fold. Look, in the public option, he had over 70% of the people with him. He folded. On the tax cuts, he's got at least 67% of the people with him. He folded. Okay, partly because he's not with them, as I explained, and partly because if he's got 4 kings, he's scared to death the other guys have 4 aces. He is the weakest player I have seen in a long, long time. He makes Harry Reid look like a fighter. I said it, okay? Because there it is. I mean, to come out and after saying to the whole world, I am drawing the line in the sand, we're not going to have any more settlements by the Israelis, it's incredibly detrimental to the peace process. To now come out and say, screw it, Netanyahu won, I lost, they're going to do all the settlements they like, and that's it. That's the end of that. I can't get a primary opponent quick enough. Young Turks have a new sponsor, GoToMeetings. Online meetings made incredibly simple. You can set it up in 2 minutes and you can talk to anyone from anywhere. And it's only $49 a month and it's unlimited.
You can actually go to gotomeeting.com/Turks and get a 30-day trial.
I never heard anybody.